Hey everyone, welcome to We Weren't Friends in High School, the podcast where I reunite with high school classmates from Wissahickon High School. I'm Brad Corbett, class of 2001. Welcome to episode 104. 103 had a lot of really fun feedback. We broke through to a new audience over the last couple of weeks, and that I posted some clips about Mr. Dreger in the Wissahickon alumni page, and he got so much love there. So if anyone is on Facebook and you want to check out the Wissahickon alumni page, there's like 50 some comments on the post for episode 103 with Daniel Cataldi, where everyone is just sharing moments and memories with Mr. Dreger. This week's episode is featuring Alaia Bradshaw. As I mentioned before, I thought that Alaia and I had a pretty rough relationship when we were growing up. I think I definitely said some things to Alaia, called Alaia some names, being that I was 11, 12, 13 years old. But as we moved on to high school, really started to reflect a little bit more on that relationship. And I say it a couple times, I felt like Alaia and I had a relationship like a brother and sister. I don't think I ever thought of it like that back then, but now looking back at it, I really enjoyed some of the times that she and I had, and as well as a few other people. I was trying to book Alaia for a few weeks, probably a few months, to be honest. And much like Danielle, Alaia was also in the process of trying to move. And so when I finally was able to get a date with Danielle, I figured, let me try and just get this interview with Alaia later in the day, being that they were both in the suburbs. And it actually worked out schedule-wise. When I got there, I realized that Alaia, actually, being that she had literally just moved, didn't have furniture set up yet. And so what this interview is basically having a microphone set up a little bit of a distance away, but it is in the middle of the summer. And if you're in Philadelphia, you know what the heat is here, extreme humidity. And so we were actually sitting on Alaia's back deck during this interview with a giant fan in the background. And so this interview was a really good test for me to work on my editing skills and my filtering skills and my noise reduction skills. And so this interview might sound a little bit different. I think I actually did a really good job at cleaning up the background noise and the fan that's going on. But if it feels like it's maybe a little bit, tinny, that is why. But I thought the conversation was incredible. I think the noise goes away in your mind after you're listening for a couple of minutes. And I hope, regardless of the sound, you guys will really enjoy this conversation. Before we start, I got to remember to put out all the social media. We Weren't Friends in High School is the name of the podcast. You can get it everywhere. The Twitter is WWF in High School. The Instagram is We Weren't Friends in High School. No apostrophe in the Instagram name. And my social media is REDSHIRTPLAYA everywhere. Okay, let's go to the interview with Alaia Bradshaw. So, Alaia.
Brad.
Welcome. So, let's start kind of like at the beginning of like the Wissahickon world. Were you in elementary? Because I think I remember you from Shady Grove.
I did go to Shady Grove for 1 year.
5th grade?
Mm-hmm.
Was that your first year at Wissahickon?
It was. Well, no.
Where'd you start?
I was at Bluebell.
Okay.
And then moved to Ambler in 5th grade. We moved from Town Line. Mm-hmm. That's like, what is it? County Line Road and 202. Yep. Right there at that corner. I lived there all my life until I was 10. Wow. Where I moved to Ambler.
What was that like?
Fun.
Yeah.
It's a big complex, so all the mothers just kicked their kids out in the middle of the day, and we hung out all day long. It was great, actually.
That's awesome.
Moving to Ambler was interesting. That was a big jump,
Very different town.
Well, I went from like apartment complex to this big town, not big, but you know what I mean.
Were you Cherry Street?
I'm between Cherry and Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's one house. That's my house. So I hung out with people from Cherry. So Dan Donahue and Mike Donahue were like my best friends.
Yeah. I knew you in Shady Grove. Who did you have in Shady Grove?
I don't listen.
You don't remember?
I must have blocked all of that out.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I was not. It wasn't a good experience for me. So I think that I blocked all of it out. I don't remember any. I could not tell you who I had in fifth grade at all.
Was fifth grade itself the bad experience, or
Actually,
the move?
no. I met a lot of cool people in fifth grade, like people I'm friends with to this day.
Yeah.
So actually, no.
Okay.
It was not fifth grade. I would say middle school on.
Why was middle school hard?
Because,
in general terms, you don't have to give specifics.
I don't like people. I mean, I am a people person, but I don't necessarily like people. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So, I think it was just a lot of different personalities. I was used to my certain group, and you go to middle school and then you're introduced to everybody and you're like, whoa, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
And I was bullied a lot. So
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm curious about this. Danielle and I were talking about like bullying, and she asked if I was bullied. I told her I didn't think I was necessarily bullied, but I thought I invited confrontation and instigation, and then you have to live up to it. What is bullying like for girls, or in your experiences? I'm not a girl, so I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what that.
That's a very interesting question. What is bullying like for girls? I think that bullying is I guess it's just somebody telling you that you're not something. I think girls like validation from everywhere. You know what I mean? And I think not getting that validation from any little criticism, I think for a girl at that age sends them down the wrong path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I think it becomes, I don't know. The insecurities come out, and then you say something, and then they say something, and it just becomes crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. It's very interesting. I've never had anybody ask me that.
Really?
I'm like really like thinking about it. Like, what is it like for it? I really think that's what it is, though. I think it's our own insecurity at that age.
Yeah. I can see. I think that a lot of my issues were insecurities.
Yeah.
Acting out so that I could try and get the jump on where I thought someone was going to try to attack me verbally or physically.
This is true. You never wanted to say certain things, or, walking on eggshells.
Yeah. Were you bullied by classmates, older classmates?
Mm-hmm.
And then is that something that you felt like, one of the things that I think about, like, with friendships in high school, especially like starting in elementary school, where we all grew up in a very small kind of town, and when compared to, a North Penn.
Yeah.
And so when you grow up with essentially 300 people that you're going to know your whole life, I think I had a hard time wrapping my head around people grow apart, people change. Even to this day, I think a lot of this podcast, I'm starting to realize that, wow, people have changed. People don't even remember stuff that I've held on to, or stuff that, even if it's not a negative hold on, I just remember it. I think people, a lot of people just move past that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that you moved past did you move past the bullying to where it wasn't like a daily thing for you, or?
Yeah, pretty quickly, actually.
How does that?
I just didn't care after a while. It was just like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, I never really held on to it like that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've had people like inbox me, message me, and be like, I used to bully you when we were younger. And I'm like, I never even gave you a second thought. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was different for me. I never really hung on to it like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Did you get in fights? Did girls fight?
Did I get in a fight in school? Not until senior year. No, not
Really?
until junior year. So no.
Wow, that's an older time to get in fights.
Yeah.
That's about when mine stopped.
I know. I was jumped on the school bus in 12th grade. 11th grade, I think. With pencil? I think she was stabbing me with. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There was a girl, I forget her name. She came in. This is interesting. She came in to Wissahickon and like really. And the funny thing is that like we all hated her because she felt like, I guess she can run things. I think that we were all very, very, very close, even if we didn't think that we were. So basically what I mean by that, if you felt somebody was bullying you, but an outsider that, you know, you just got to Wissahickon said something to you, I guarantee any one of us would have stepped in and been like, listen, you know what I mean? And that was the situation. She came up to me one day and it was early in the morning. I'm tired. I'm like, listen, I really don't have time to talk to you. I don't know who called you this name or anything. I don't care. She said that she was scared. She told the cops that she was scared. So I guess because her friend said that, you know, you don't mess with me. I don't know why. Because I feel like I'm a nice person.
Big
you know?
bad Alaia.
Maybe. Some days, probably. But yeah, and, you know, I got on the school bus one day and she was stabbing me with a pencil. I kind of took the pencil from her. I punched her in her face.
Wow.
That's pretty much the end of it. Mm-hmm.
Wow. God,
Yep.
I feel like I got off lucky now. So right before we started recording, I was bringing up that I feel like we were confrontational, and you don't remember it at all. I have to tell you, I think so. I feel like when I think back now, I think back and I go, God, I feel like Alaia almost was like a sister.
Right. I think that was the banter. But
I think it took, you know, 5th grade, 6th grade. So I think it took a lot of that time to get there.
I think I might remember some of that. Okay. Maybe.
Like, I'm pretty sure.
Really? Because all that I've ever said,
I cursed you out.
Maybe.
In class. And I think
Really?
like, yeah, I think I cursed you out in class. In a way that a boyfriend would angrily yell at his girlfriend.
Really?
Yeah, I think I called you a bitch and we were probably in like 5th, 6th, 7th grade.
Why don't I remember this?
Yeah.
I do not remember that at all. I remember
because I feel bad about it, but.
Aww. I get that so much. I always say, like, you're one of my favorite people because I think that you gave off the air that you were a certain way, but you weren't. You were just you.
Yeah.
You
what was that
mean?
way?
You were an instigator.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I always felt like that was a little bit more like a shell, like a facade, like a defense mechanism. And I think that once I realized that, I was like, oh, he's cool. He's good. You know, he's harmless. You know? I don't remember like bantering with, I did that a lot with girls, but never, I don't remember.
I think I remember it because it's not a proud moment for me. You know what I mean? Like,
aww.
You know what I mean? Like,
is this why you're doing this?
No. I'm doing it because I think it's a great idea.
It is a great idea. I'll tell you that.
But no, I want to be honest about it. You know, I don't want to.
I feel so bad.
No, don't feel bad.
That you felt bad about it. Like,
because I will tell you that some of my best memories from high school is you and me and Coop and Kelly Brailsford.
Yes. I still talk to Kelly.
And Brandon Deese.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was you and I had a study hall with Brandon, or the 4 of us with Kelly had chorus.
We did.
Coop used to wear that funky glove on his hand. You remember that glove? The sweat towel. He had like a knit glove, and I'd be like, yo, Coop, let me wear that glove. And we wear that glove. And he would just have like a one-handed glove. And can I tell you what it was really for me? You guys know this is like a heartfelt moment. You guys honestly were like in school, like my best black friends. As far as like black culture, most of my friends were white that I grew up with, but having like black friends to talk about comedy, I learned you don't remember this. I know you don't remember this. We learned how to play Anywhere by 112 on the piano together in chorus. And we used to all sit on the risers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the 4 of us would just sit over here and just crack wit.
I feel like that was probably 100% fact.
Yeah. And that was like where I could talk to people about, yo, did you see ODB at the Grammys? Did you see this? Did you see that? That was you guys really were like my window into acceptance of black culture. One of the things that I talked to Mike Clyburn about this
That's so interesting.
Was that being biracial You know, I don't know that I always felt like I belonged in groups. And so I refer to like the group of black kids at the trash can at the end of K Hall. I could never stand in that group.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I felt the same way though.
So that's something that also, when I think about you, that you had a mix of friends, right? Like I think for you, I think of like Noelle.
Big. Yeah.
Being one of your best friends.
Still is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So will you tell me a little bit about that? Like you lived also in a pretty white neighborhood.
Oh.
You were in, when I section off Ambler, that was where the Breccas, where the Donahues, where they all lived. That was white part of was the white part of Ambler.
Yeah. It was horrible.
Was it?
I didn't like it, no.
I don't want to say selecting of your friends because I don't think you picked them like by choice, but but just like that process of when you have different races of friends like that. But I just think it's super relevant nowadays.
I know people hate to hear this phrase, okay? I don't see color. I really don't. I look at you and I say, there's Brad. My first instinct is, oh, there's black Brad. First of all, Brad's not all black.
Right.
Okay, so I don't, that's not what I do, period. And I never have. Interesting enough, though, I did always have a mix of friends, but between middle school and high school, my parents didn't want me to have white friends. Like, I wasn't allowed to go out, nothing. So you move me into a white neighborhood, but then tell me, I don't want you to have any white friends. So it was kind of like, I don't know. I didn't really relate to the black, at that age, I didn't really relate to the black kids in that area because my parents are from New York. And so from time I was born till about maybe 16, I spent every damn weekend, every summer in New York. It's a whole different world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a whole different demeanor. People carry themselves a lot different. They've been through a lot more than we've been through here in Ambler. You know what I'm saying? So it was very hard for me to kind of make that determination. I looked at a lot of them like, you guys have all this shit, yet you want to be out on the fucking corner doing what? So it kind of irritated me a lot. So,
a little pretenderish?
A lot pretenderish.
That's the suburbs, right?
It is. So but I would have never known that if, I didn't have both sides of that spectrum. So coming back to Ambler, during the week was difficult. It was just like, what in the world? Like, these people take everything for granted.
And I don't know, who else did you hang out with at that time?
Bianca Mercer.
Yeah.
Linnea Huckabee.
Yeah. I get so excited when I hear these names.
Yeah.
So what do you do then? So you can't be friends with people in the neighborhood with the white kids in the neighborhood. So what are you doing for social? School's over. What happens? What do you do?
I'm in my room.
Chilling?
Yep.
As much as you can.
Chilling, reading.
Was there like an expectation for you? So my dad was super strict and would often have like, I don't want to call your parents weird, but I consider, weird kind of guidelines. My dad, I think, was a little opposite. Didn't want me hanging out with the black kids in the neighborhood. Right? I was in South Ambler.
What?
Yeah. So my dad would see,
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
That was in South Ambler?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I grew up down the street from like Wham and Miles and Nick Corliss and Mike Mayall and Ray Campion and Jermaine Thompson lived right next to me.
But your dad didn't want.
My dad didn't. So we had a really large presence of guys that would hang on the corner. We had one of those, like, I don't know if the house was abandoned, but it was frequented, the house. And so that's where people would just hang out all the time. And my dad would always try and make a delineation of what my expectation was and that wasn't to be it. And so in Ambler, in South Ambler especially, everyone's related. Everyone's cousins. And so it's like, you can hang out with those and play bike. You can ride bikes with those kids in the streets. That's about it. They can't come over. You don't go over there. It was, you know what I mean? It was a dumb rule. And there's a better way to teach what you're trying to teach than to exclude or seclude or segregate. I don't know.
Right.
So I guess, my dad, if I was to say, well, then what am I supposed to do, Dad? What am I going to do? My dad would tell me, and he was the same way with like girls. He would tell me, you don't worry about that. You read, you study, you do this, you do that. That's what I was kind of trying to get to. It's a long about way, but I got there. Would your parents expect you to better yourself instead of being out?
I think that was just the rhetoric. You know what I mean? Like, I think that was just what they said. I think that's what they grew up listening to.
Yeah.
It sounds like trauma to me. And that's what I talk about this all the time. I talk about family trauma passed down through generations. And that's exactly what it sounds like to me. Like,
Yeah.
Probably something that his parents drilled into him. It's a different time. He's trying to drill it into you, but for you, it doesn't even really make sense.
Right.
That's exactly how I grew up. My parents were very different. Let's just put it that way. And it had a very negative effect on how I saw relationships, identity. Mm-hmm. You want to, I guess, do better. I guess that's the whole thing with that generation. So you move us into a white neighborhood, but then you don't want us to hang out with the people in that neighborhood, right. And then like, even a lot, actually, now that I think about it, they were always skeptical of the black, of the black kids.
Yeah.
So you're kind of in this like, well,
damned if you do, damned if you don't. How do you live as a kid? You're
kind of, as a child, when you're not, your mind isn't as developed, you haven't experienced anything, you don't know what to think. Mm. You're stuck.
Did you start having any fun at any point in high school?
Oh. Oh yeah, in high school I was a mess, but it was great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, if you had to pick like a most fun moment in high school.
Like actually in school?
Yeah, in the confines of the educational experience.
I hated it though. I mean, I have to be honest. It was a horrible experience for me. Those were the years where I was just so lost. I felt empty, and so I don't know if I'm able to. If I say it, it might sound like really. I don't know if I can. The most fun time. Social lab. I love social lab. Did you do social lab?
What was social lab?
So social lab was when you're in 12th grade, if you were finished your credits, you would go to school half the day and work half the day.
Oh.
Well, intern half the day.
Yeah, yeah. This is different than tech school. This is actually like...
Yeah. This is different from tech school.
Yep.
That was fun. That was great.
Yeah.
Great time. Mm-hmm.
Where did you go?
Not to intern often.
I don't want to misquote him, but I'm pretty sure Eric said he had the exact same.
Not to intern. Maybe twice a week I'd go, but then, we'd go to people's houses.
Yeah.
Go out to breakfast. We used to go out to breakfast a lot. Me, Justin Hammond, Jess Davis, and somebody else came with us too.
Wow. More names. I love names.
Yes.
You mentioned parties. So I didn't party at all.
Really?
Yeah, never. I never went to any parties, cast parties from musicals. Was like the bulk of it. My friends didn't party. My friends didn't drink, didn't do anything. And so
really?
Yeah, so for me, hanging out on a Friday or Saturday night was probably getting buffalo wings and watching the Sixers or listening to music, and that would be about it. Maybe we go to Friendlies. But that would be about it. That wasn't a thing that I grew up. So I'm curious a little bit into the experience of the party world when you're a teenager.
I was just telling Aaron about one New Year's Eve, me and Bianca were bored. It's 10:30. We're like, geez, why are we sitting here? So we call someone up. We're like, are you having a party? He's like, yeah. We go. Everybody from school is there. Everybody that we hung out with, I guess,
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How many people?
Oh, God. A lot. You're talking about a row home completely filled, all rooms. Like, yeah.
That sounds like so much fun.
It was.
Those are the moments that I completely missed out on.
I didn't have many of those. Well, yeah, I did. Never mind.
See, I feel like those are the moments that for me in my 20s and 30s that I'm always like striving to have. And I have them now. I have fun times and great parties and things like that. But I feel like I don't know if I got it out of my system or if I will, because I feel like I'm kind of...
Because you missed that time period. That makes sense. So
yeah.
That makes sense.
Do you want to talk about any bad times? Tough times?
Oh, I was drunk from 10th grade. Well, all of 10th grade, definitely. 11th grade, maybe part of 11th grade. I used to drink SoCo in the morning. I used to bring a water bottle of SoCo. Just a whole bottle.
Wow.
All day.
So...
drunk.
That's so surprising. I mean, so I knew stuff like that was happening. I feel like we were the vodka and the water bottle generation.
Definitely.
I don't know, what's that like? I mean, you're fucking young, right? And you're...
depressed. Miserable, you know.
Wow. How did you overcome that habit, I guess? That specific... Maybe you didn't hit the depression, but you said through 11th, so not 12th.
I mean, I had to graduate. I failed all of 9th grade. So it took a lot to graduate. A lot of extra credit, a lot of honors classes. I rewarded myself. If the work got done, then I drank. Like, I switched it up a little bit.
Okay. I feel like our world is very small being in the suburbs. So was there ever like a point, but I mean, did you have ever like visions or wonders of what's outside of this little borough?
Yeah.
Were there any ideas for you that you...
The city. I just wanted to be in the city.
In Philly?
Mm-hmm. Any city, really.
Anyone. Okay.
Right. Philly was just the closest. You know. Yeah, definitely. I definitely felt like word traveled fast, and I had to get in my car to do everything, which annoyed me. And, you know, I definitely wanted like convenience.
Yeah, that's my thing now about I drive to work, and then when I get home, I park and I don't get back in my car again until I have to go back to work.
Exactly. I lived in Philly for 12 years.
Really?
And it was great, yeah.
When did you get there?
2007? I think.
Okay. How did school kind of wrap up for you? Did you leave with feeling that everything was square?
Yeah, I was ready. I did not even, I think I took one picture of Bianca and I fucking left. I did not even, it wasn't like, oh, give me my stuff. I was out.
Wow.
Gone. Yeah. So I went to East Stroudsburg.
Okay.
I didn't graduate. I left going into my junior year because I got sick. And then I moved to Harrisburg and started at AT&T. And I was at AT&T for 12 years.
I feel like I know the answer to what you're going to say.
Okay.
Do you feel like anything prepared you for what you're doing now from a skill set? Organization, responsibility, anything like that?
No.
So why East Stroudsburg?
My brother went there. And so I was like, all right, I'll go there.
You've taken these journeys, like, so East Stroudsburg, and then you lived in Harrisburg?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. These are so I don't know, Philadelphia, I don't look at them as urban locations.
Not East Stroudsburg so much, but Harrisburg is.
I guess every place has a city, right?
Yeah, Harrisburg is crazy.
Really?
Oh.
In a good way?
Nope.
Oh.
No. Nope. The Harrisburg is, I had to grow up real quick in Harrisburg.
Really?
Uh-huh.
In what way?
The crime is crazy. Like, you can't even go outside of your house.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy out there.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful place to live, though, but you got to know what you're doing. You got to have your eyes, ears open all the time.
How long have you been back in Montgomery County?
I've been back for 2 years.
Was it directly from Philly?
Mm-hmm.
How do you like it?
I I hate it.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like it at all.
Too much of a reminder? Too small?
Oh, way too small. Trust me, way too small. Something happens 2 hours later, the whole fucking world knows. Like, I've never liked this area. I grew up seeing so many different places, or it's just, this is my least favorite.
Yeah. I'm single, no kids, so I still live like, I'm 19 because I can.
Right.
What's it like to have responsibility?
Scary. I will be 100%. I feel like it's scary, but I don't know. I don't see my kids as like a crazy burden so much. It is a lot of back and forth and running around and doing this and doing that, but it's also fun. Mm-hmm. It also keeps you going. It keeps you motivated. It keeps you focused. So it's a good thing. It is scary though.
Yeah.
To be responsible for somebody else's life.
I don't have the characteristics in me still. I hear people say that once you're thrust into the position, you change.
You do.
There's you either do or you don't, right? You're either going to be the type that changes, or you keep fucking around and don't make your life better, and don't really give your kids hope. But I don't see myself in that position I don't know how to do it. So, I'm especially interested, and Coop, you're in that position too, where like, we're the same age, but you guys have kids, you've had kids. And so, to evolve into that world and learn about that, I don't even know how to do it. And I don't even know if I have the skill set in me now that if I was, I guess you ask people for help, but
when I had my oldest, it was just like, all right, I got this little sidekick, and everything that I'm going to do for myself, I do for her anyway. So it's like, that's how I always looked at it. And then my middle one came, and I was like, oh my God, I might die. Because she was a little crazy, and she still is. So they are 2 years apart. And that was interesting, a baby and a 2-year-old. But I guess I didn't see it as something hard. I loved my kids and I just wanted to hang out with them, but I couldn't because I was always working. But I don't know. See, I always wanted to be a mother.
Really?
Always, yeah. Mm-hmm. Always wanted. So I feel like I've accomplished everything. I've accomplished something 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I love it. So maybe that's the difference. I enjoy it. I don't feel like it's a burden. It is a lot, and I get frustrated and I get overwhelmed, but I think that's everything. Mm-hmm. That's everything that we do.
Mm-hmm. I think about like what I'm supposed to do. And so I want kids, but I think that 10, 15 years ago, when I'm thinking, okay, I got to start doing this in my 20s so that I'm not so much older, I don't think that I knew how to make, what's the right way to put it? I don't think that I knew how to prepare my life for stuff like that. Does that make sense?
Like to try to be prepared for it?
Yeah. So like
you can't.
So like here I think I need to kind of hurry up, but I don't even know what that means.
Well, that's because of the program. We talk a lot. My friend, she loves talking about the program.
What's the program?
And the program is just basically, that's what we've been drilled in our heads, that we have to be married at a certain age. We have to have a baby at a certain age. Right. And, honestly, it's all crap. Things happen when they happen. Mm-hmm. It's society, it's the validation. We have to do this so that society can look at us a certain way.
Yeah.
All that does is, promote anxiety and fear.
Yes.
That's all that does.
I've got those things.
Yeah, I bet.
I do. Yeah, absolutely. And don't worry, Danielle gave me a little bit of a shrink session too. So that's how some of these things like turn out like that.
Well,
but I am curious in that, when people that you kind of lived, what I consider similar, lives around each other, grew up together. I'm always curious, and not having talked to you for 20 years in depth. So yeah, your point of view on life, and especially having that you live such a different life than I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Intriguing.
But then again, not so different, because your dad was the same way my parents were, you know what I mean? It's that, what do people call it? It's that, black people rhetoric, That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And it's trauma. I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
Don't edit this out because it's important.
Yeah.
It's trauma that is spread from generation to generation. Our generation doesn't speak up for the things that are serious. We just say, we just sweep it under the rug and say, oh, that was just that generation. That's how they talk. For instance, what you were saying about your dad and how, he didn't want you to do that. But to him, it looked a certain way, even though we all knew it was, you know what I mean? But that was his own insecurity, That's their own insecurity. And we don't say that to them. We don't say, hey, listen, you're wrong. This is you. Don't put this on me. And then we grow up with this fear of life,
I 100% agree. I think so my dad passed about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, but we hadn't seen each other for a long, long, long time.
Really?
Yeah, really long time.
Sorry.
We had a falling out when I was a teenager. So after my parents divorced, all through most of high school and then beyond, I never saw my dad again. Never talked to him. And so, when he was passing, when he was dying, you have to go through all these emotions, and I actually had to be the one to like see the care, the final care, had to come back into this after 20 years. And so when you're just listening to about his life and all that, and you just think about all these things, and I think probably the thing I would want to ask him is what happened. I think I can make up a million different reasons as to what it was, right? My grandfather was an angry man, and so that made him an angry man. My dad was a Marine in the 60s. A black man in the Marines in the 1960s could not have been easy. My dad had a propensity for white women all through his life, and so in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, that shit ain't easy to get by with. Which all that builds up all types of anger, and then just all the when your parents just kind of had things that you don't know about and you're probably never going to know about, what were those things and how did that affect him? And I think nowadays that's becoming such a public discussion in the black community. Anxiety, depression, mental illness, the way that we kind of hide those things. Yeah, that's kind of what that really reminded me of really feeling like I could come up with 6-7 different reasons of why my dad was the way he was, that projected these things onto me, that quite honestly probably is what led for me to have anger towards you as a 13-year-old, as a 9-year-old, however old I was. It's all connected in that way.
Absolutely. I just believe that we're all on our own journey and we're all fighting every day. And the only thing that you can do is just love yourself. Fight yourself through the journey.
Yeah.
I think a lot of my fear has dissipated and anxiety by doing things that I'm terrified of doing. Pretty much everything, honestly.
Like what? What kind of stuff are you terrified? You mean normal everyday type of things?
Normal everyday, yeah. Driving certain ways. The anxiety is real. Trust me.
Yeah.
And I'm probably sure that, actually, I'm interested. Has that been a common theme so far?
Anxiety?
Yeah.
Amongst the people I've talked to? Mm-hmm. Mike spoke a little bit about depression when he talked. I'm curious to know, we were all riddled by some sort of... I think we've all dealt with different trials and tribulations, whether they're home or external, in some cases legal. But I think we've all had some different experiences that left very unresolved issues that I think we're all as adults still addressing, still learning about.
Yeah. You know what the trick is? The trick is understanding that good and bad things are going to happen in your life regardless. So you have to change how you react to those things. Mm-hmm. It's all about us and how we react to certain things. I mean, do we want to react to out of fear, or do we want to react out of, you know what, this happened, but then again, this happened, so we're okay. It's a balance, you know. It's about understanding that you're not always going to have good. There is going to be bad.
Yeah.
And being okay with that bad, you know.
That's a huge, man, that's like, I feel like that was my problem in high school. And I'm so glad you kind of said, my mom asked me today if anyone's talked about their impression of me. And that's not necessarily what I want to ask people. I feel it's a little bit concealed. I'm open to it. I'm completely open to people asking me any question that they want to about my life or telling me anything. I'm telling you what what my impressions of you. I think that's what makes it fun. But I appreciate you saying that you recognized, this outer shell and that wasn't me. Right. That's something that I think not until recently I didn't realize, but I think so I've had some incidents lately that remind me so much of middle school, early high school, when I was having those issues, and they all come with ego.
Oh yeah,
ego and public perception. Mm-hmm. And anger. Yeah. And it's so easy to, when you're not careful, when you think you've got some things figured out, to slip right back into that anger that I talked about with my dad, and that if I having some confrontations to where I go, boy, that was a stupid way to handle that. Why would you put yourself in that situation? And those are the type of things that, so I like to think that now I'm at least recognizing it, whereas I would have just gotten in trouble 20 years ago and I wouldn't have known why. It would have been madder that I got in trouble, and right. And it's like, oh, okay, I see there was a wrong there, and then I reacted to that, and then so it's you almost can't let yourself off the hook either.
I know,
because you have to keep.
It's a fight. It's a daily fight every day. You kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
And then you see that when you think of things differently, you try to kind of change your thought pattern, things start working out for you, this is the most interesting. I would have never thought if we didn't sit down.
Really?
Never.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, I wouldn't expect that people had. I guess I always feel like I'm the only one that goes through anything. And I hear a lot of people say that, and I think that's part of the problem. So things like this, like these podcasts are really important nowadays.
Thank you.
I think it's a great idea, and I hope that people are open to do it.
Yeah, I'm really finding it's extremely therapeutic.
Yes.
I'm learning.
I'm like, what are we talking about right now? I just left the house. Like, I just moved out on July 1st.
Did you go to the Ambler Festival?
No, I didn't. I always miss it. I'm always busy. I'm always running around working. It's a mess.
I love going to Ambler. So I was there yesterday too.
Yeah, was it
good? For the fireworks. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we went to the fireworks. Yeah.
But I love walking around there drinking. So I love walking around Philly with a cup.
Oh, my favorite thing to do.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So like to do that in Ambler, where people know you and you could throw out a high five to someone you haven't seen in 15 years.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like I might run for mayor out here some days. Ambler's so fun with the things, but how do you feel about the changes of the town?
I hate it.
You don't like it?
I just don't feel like they should have did that to Ambler. Ambler was very much a family town. Very few families settled in Ambler. It was a whole thing. You pushed a lot of people out. I don't know. I'm not happy with a lot of the situation in Ambler. Wissahickon sucks.
Ha!
And I find that to be really interesting. I've been talking about it.
In what way?
Well, so amongst many other things, one of my things about moving back to Ambler was I really wanted my kids to go to Wissahickon. I wanted them to have the same experience, like at least growing up in a small town and being able to see your friends come back 20 years later and you all go to the same bar. Like I wanted them to have that same experience.
Okay.
But when I got here, I realized that Ambler is so different. You have your yuppies, you have your meth addicts, which there are a lot of those. Okay. But then Wissahickon as a school, we'll jump to Wissahickon. Like I realized that I would have been better off keeping my kids at the school they were at in Philly.
No one says that.
No one says that, but I think that people need to say that because I've now talked to 4 different people who have said the same thing. As a matter of fact, I was speaking to a woman just Friday, and her daughter grew up with all of us, but she went to Lansdale Catholic.
Okay.
And so she was saying that the reason why she went to Lansdale Catholic was because Wissahickon was bad back then.
In what way? What do you mean when you say bad?
So basically, Wissahickon makes it obvious that all they care about is money. They make it real obvious. They have $1 million budget, yet the back to school list is like 2 pages long.
Oh, wow.
And then when you get there, they're like, also, can you get this? And we're like, but you have $1 million budget. Like, what am I bringing stuff for? Standardized testing, that's actually Wissahickons curriculum. So, when we were younger, I remember day 1 was like learning whatever, say it was math. We kind of, this is what we're going to be doing. Day 2, okay, this is how you do it. Day 3, this is what we're practicing. Okay. They don't do that at Wissahickon. They teach what's on the standardized test.
Like in The Wire, season 4?
Maybe. Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's what they do in The Wire in Baltimore. They're not supposed to be doing that out here in the suburbs. They teach the test.
They teach, so the curriculum is based on...
They turn up the heat to keep the kids calm, too?
Well, it's also about money. Yeah, it's not like you're learning anything. That's why the kids are coming home and they don't know what the hell, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. I hate that new math, I'll tell you that right now.
Listen, that is the worst. Nobody can do that.
No one can do new math.
Kids get confused. But yeah, to me, it's like a whole, I'll be honest, my kids would have been better off at their school in Philly.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Please.
Just because I'm curious. You didn't speak highly of your time here. Why would you want to put them back in this town and in that school?
Okay, so I didn't like school. Like I didn't like school, but I did like the fact coming back.
When you came back from Harrisburg, you mean?
Right.
Yeah.
As a different person and speaking to different people, just like we are, like, it opened my eyes. Like, not a lot of people can say, hey, when I go to the bar, I'm drinking with all the same people I've drank with my whole entire life. Like, not a lot of people, nobody really even understands that,
You fell in love with the comeback story. Exactly.
And the small town, watching too many movies type,
Yeah.
And, it's just different. It
looked like a storybook rest of your life type of. And then I came back home and we settled in, and the people that taught me taught my kids.
I did. I absolutely
You're not alone in that.
The grass is not greener on the other side. That was my life lesson.
Do you feel like your location would change your happiness, in all honesty? Like, do you feel like if you weren't here and you were in Harrisburg, or if you were in, Miami-Dade County, do you think you would be personally happier in any way, or do you feel like this is... I don't think
anywhere I am. I think I make myself happy. So I don't think anywhere I am is going to affect my happiness. But as far as like being comfortable where I am, like as far as like, okay, this is where I want to be, like this is just not it.
If you were going to be miserable, would you rather just be miserable in a place that you're comfortable, that you where you know where to get your cheesesteaks, you know where to get your pizza, you know where to get your beer?
See, I just want to be where nobody is. Like I want land, a house, and that's it. Like I don't want to. You
do want to live down south.
I guess I do.
or Percy.
I don't want. We're not going to do that. I just want nothingness.
Yeah. I have, in college, I grew an affinity for trucker music, where...
Is there a difference? Like, what's trucker music?
Trucker music is, like, specifically about, like, trucker life. Yeah. So it's almost like white gangster music. It's about dudes who drive 18-wheeler. I can't believe I just dropped this on the podcast.
This is like great. Can we listen to something? Because I'm interested.
I'll play it out when we're done. I'll play it. We can jam out if you want. It's about like they talk, and a lot of time it's like rapping
That's funny.
But they talk a lot about Iowa and Wyoming and these open areas of land and untouched mountainous terrain and plains, and that shit sounds so fun. Like I always say, if I can get rich, I want to get like a place out in Colorado where you have to take a helicopter to get there. You got to bring all your food because the supermarket is like 20 miles out. You know what I mean? And you call friends.
I love it.
This is what I say when I say I'm still like 20. Like I'm still haven't gotten this out of my system. You call friends like, hey, we're going to the spot in Colorado for like 3 weeks. You in? Like, yeah, let's go. and then you come back 3 weeks later. Go back maybe in
That'd
6
be great.
months.
Yes.
You guys are in?
I'm in.
All right.
Totally.
You're on the invite list.
You know, I find it interesting that you feel like, you know, because you didn't party that much in high school, that now it's kind of like you're getting it out and everything like that. But I mean, I don't know many people who don't still party even with kids. Like,
that's true.
You know,
I mean, as far as I don't have regrets, you know, I have, boy, I wish I could have done this, wish I could have had this experience. But I look back on like those times and I don't know what that's like. And I love being social now. And maybe because I do drink now, but I love being social. And I really miss that. I miss having the opportunity in that time to experience, you know, like just, I didn't have those moments of being in the basement and 8 people, 10 people, 15 people rocking out to a song. I didn't have that till college. So
you never went to like one of the many dance parties and.
No, wow. I wasn't friends with anyone that had like a party.
Got it. Okay.
Were they fun?
That's interesting. Were they fun? They were fun.
I also can't dance, and I think now
you could have been like on the wall drinking. You would have had a great time.
Oh yeah, now I can do like classic rap video moves. I got all of Jay-Z's live concert moves down and everything. I kill it now.
As long as you had the 2-step down, you good.
Yeah, I got it now. But but I had extreme like just anxiety about like fitting in moments like that because I never had that experience in high school. Even dances, like I didn't go to prom. I didn't go to anything like that.
Wait a minute, Brad. You didn't go to prom?
No.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. My
yes,
prom
you
story
did.
is the worst. I don't even know if I want to share it. No, I didn't go. I promise you I didn't go.
Wait a oh my God. Like, I would have never thought that you had this experience. Like, this is so enlightening to me. Wow.
Yeah.
I need you to, I'm going to email some people for you.
Some shit.
Dude, this is the best idea. I need you to talk to so many. This is so, I would have, why didn't you go to prom?
So, I mean, there's a myriad of reasons.
Okay.
First reason was I didn't ask anybody. Right? I did ask someone. That's wrong. No, that's wrong. I did ask someone. So, all right, this will be weird. Okay.
This is ridiculous.
First reason,
you were the most personal person, one of the most personal people I knew. See, that's that facade shit.
But it was to hide my insecurity. So deep down, I think just insecurities, right? Not secure enough to, but I had a date to prom, and that date got a boyfriend prior to prom. And then I found out, like, I don't know, I guess a month or two before that I'd been replaced by the boyfriend. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So it was like,
serious? So you were just like, forget it.
Well, yeah, then it was like, well, you know, by that point, everyone's kind of like, and so you make excuses and you go, it's not even that big a deal. It's not even a senior prom. It's junior prom too. The seniors date the freshmen. The juniors date the sophomores. It's just a big school dance. I don't even care. And that's how you talk yourself out of going. And then I think I didn't date. I never dated in like high school or anything like that. And so a dating type of atmosphere or a dancing atmosphere wasn't my thing. I was good at holding court with friends. You know, we're going to hang out and talk about stuff. That was my thing. But like an intimate session or something like that, I didn't know how to even approach something like that as a teenager. Wasn't my bag.
Wow.
So I didn't go. Like school dances, I hated them. I was always on the wall at the school dances. I didn't ask girls to dance.
I think I remember that a little bit.
Yeah.
which was weird because I always saw you, especially like as a very personable person.
Well, you know, and maybe this speaks to how our relationship got better. And I talk about, like, when I look back now, I feel like it was more like a sister relationship.
Definitely.
But I think comfortability. I think I felt acceptance from you, from Kelly, from Brandon, from Coop.
Of course.
And I think I didn't, and probably because of my antagonistic and others. I don't want to let other people off the hook. I'll tell them to their face, but you know, I don't want to make it sound like I was the problem all the time. I definitely, if there was a problem, I didn't steer away from the problem. But you know, I don't think I felt acceptance from other people because I had that type of relationship with so many people. There were tons of people I had like good relationships with that I was, you know, consider myself less. When I say we were acquaintances, I mean less acquaintance than that. That I didn't have a problem with and I got along fine with. But the people that I think I wanted to truly have acceptance from, I never gained that acceptance. And I think that made me feel a little bit insecure, inadequate. And so stuff like a school dance where I've got to get dressed up.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know,
like,
yeah, I do.
People are cracking, you know, people cracking on my hair because I have Jewish hair. I don't have black hair. I can't get the Caesar. Now I got to wear a suit and I don't even know how to do that shit. You know what I mean? Like that's not.
I feel you.
And so all that stuff is just like, yeah, I can't do that.
That's the kind of stuff I hated in high school though. It was that I had to be accepted by, like, I was different. I was definitely very different, which I think is the reason why I was very, like, you know, I didn't really have like a group of people. It was I was friends with everybody. I loved everybody. I hated that cliquey feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely resonate with not feeling accepted by, you know, the Black people. Maybe because I hung out with white people. I don't know, you know.
And I don't even know, you know, I don't know if anyone even feels that way, you know, in retrospect.
That's true. I mean,
you know, I'm really, that's one of the, and me as well, you know, like I said, one of the things that helps me is learning that you're not that I'm not special, but I'm not special in my thought. If I think it, someone else has thought it.
Oh, that's big. Cause I always think that, you know, I'm the only one going, you know, everybody is going through it. Everybody.
Yeah. So yeah, when you talk about the way that you felt about school, if I didn't have some of those feelings, I would have no interest in, I don't want to say rewriting the way I felt it turned out, but I would have interest in wanting to figure out the sociological aspect of why do I feel that these were, you know, some of these things were that way.
Because they were.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what we'll find out is that other people also felt that too.
Ecstatic. I need all the answers. I want to hear this whole thing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's a fun journey so far.
That would help me. It would help me because I am still working on it, you know, and then I end up in this situation. And so like, life is just crazy.
It is crazy. Is there anything that you wanted to discuss, talk about, ask that I didn't cover? I've asked everything. I've like thoroughly enjoyed this conversation.
This was great.
I can't wait to turn the mics off and start dropping names and.
No, I mean, like I said, I just think this is great. I'm shocked. Like I never realized that this was the experience that you had.
What did you? I mean, did you even think about what my? I was gonna say, what did you think my experience was? But that would be to assume that you sat and thought about what my high school experience was, which is a.
I mean, I just
weird thing for me to assume that you thought.
It was normal, like, you know, just. I can't answer that question. I can't honestly answer that question because everybody's gonna have a different.
So the reason why this show can be called "We Weren't Friends in High School" is because I really only had like 5 friends that I would consider like really good friends. You know, and I talked about Coop earlier, you know, being that I know Coop. I've known Coop since 5th grade, knew his parents, been to his house, he's been to mine. We had a handshake back in the day. I'm going to ask him later if he remembers it. But, you know, Coop is on that very peripheral of what I would consider like a great friend, of someone I hung out. But Coop was someone I grew up with and loved.
Me too.
Like a friend. And so, but everyone else wasn't, I didn't have a relationship with. It varied from, hey, what's up? we tell some jokes in study hall to, hey, go fuck yourself, Corbett.
That did happen a lot. That did happen.
You remember that?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh.
And it irritated me because that's how I came up with, like, I'm like, I don't think that people realize who he really is. Like, because I don't have that experience with him.
Oh my God, you're gonna make me cry.
But that's why this is so crazy to me, because that's anytime somebody brings up your name, that's what I say. I'm like, well, he's one of my favorite people because I think that people took him a certain way, and he was totally different. He was like one of the coolest people you would ever meet.
Wow.
But that's how I got, you know what? Danielle's brother, Derek, and he doesn't remember this, right? All of my friends used to like make fun of him. Oh, he's a goth and all this other stuff, right? I never did that. Like, I don't see that.
Yeah.
I just see people. The way we became friends was, he said to me, we were walking home one day with Dan and Mike, and he said to me, I know your friends make fun of me, so you don't have to be friends with me. And I looked at him and I said, I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Wow.
Like, you are you, and if you want to be friends, we can totally be friends. And we were friends from that point on. Close as hell. Yeah.
Danielle's gonna hate. This is now the second show in a row. He's getting.
Oh, Danielle, I love you too. I love Danielle too. She knows that.
We championed Derek's run from tech school to a solid long running career.
That
with
boy
a skill.
was no joke.
I saw him at the Ambler Festival.
You did?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in years.
Oh yeah. That is one of those feel-good moments about being in this area.
Yeah.
That right there, it really is. When you have certain people that you do. You know, that you have a certain type of love for. I do. That no matter what, just like when it brings a smile to your face when you think about that person. Well, I don't have any lingering questions. I feel like we went an hour 20.
Did we? I'm so glad you did this because I love learning things about people. Yeah. So, you know, this is amazing. I would have never thought that you had this experience.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, yeah.
And then to bring up the fact, because guess what?
What?
I did not know that you're mixed until probably a few years ago when I saw a picture of your mom and I went,
oh, really? What did you think?
Never knew. I thought you were black.
Oh, my. That makes me want to cry, too. That makes, I can't, that's like the
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. I thought everyone knew. I thought everyone knew.
No. And so I find this interesting that you had, you know, this identity, you know, toggle. And I'm like, dude, I thought he was black until like a few years ago.
No, and wow. Well, that's the pod.
All right. Well, this is great.
There's so one last thing that has to happen.
Oh my God. What is it? Are you going to take a picture of me?
Well, we are going to take a selfie, but you've got to sign my yearbook.
Ah, I didn't sign your yearbook? You're lying. Do I have to sign under my picture?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate you. Oh, wow. This is amazing. I don't even have my yearbook. This is amazing. You're about to have the best night, too. This is fun.
I'm excited. This is part of when we just kept texting each other and we're like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm like, I'm excited.
Yes, I was so excited. Babe, he has a yearbook. Oh, yeah, I got the yearbook. Can you believe that?
Why can't I find you? Bolger. Borkowski. Oh, there you are. There. Oh, the short hair.
The short hair is awesome. I miss my short hair.
Oh, my God.
The short hair is so nice. We're signing yearbooks. I'm excited. Wait a minute.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Oh, this is great. You have not looked at this thing. Oh my gosh, she is, yo. Okay, so Alaia's composure is completely changed.
Oh my God, I don't want to cry. Oh my God. Do you see what this says? Do you see those initials?
Yeah. Wow, you shouted out Alicia Conti? That's so nice of you. Oh, I didn't even know you guys were that close.
Yo, this is crazy. Do you see these initials? Whose initials are they?
Does that mean anything to you?
Oh my God! Yo, I am gonna freak out.
How does that make you feel?
I don't want to cry in front of all of you, honestly. I really don't. Oh my God! Oh my God!
I never expected this. No, this is a really happy, pleasant surprise.
Oh my God. Yo, oh my God. Just get this away from me. Woo!
Well, Alaia, thanks.
You're welcome anytime. That was amazing.
All right. That is Alaia Bradshaw. I'm hesitant to add any more really notes to the conversation because I felt like it's a conversation that really should stay contained in the environment that we had it. I don't know that I could truly put anything extra onto what we said, other than I really enjoyed it. I know Alaia really enjoyed the conversation, and I was probably more open than I've been thus far about my personal life, including my relationship with my dad and his passing a couple of years ago. And that's really, I think, all that I will say on that. For those that were wondering who was in the background, the screaming with Alaia's yearbook, what did this all mean? The references to Coop. Alaia is in a relationship with Aaron Cooper, who was also in our graduating class. Aaron, or Coop, as I referred to him growing up, was actually a friend of mine. He knew my parents. He's been to my house. And so Coop is actually barred from being on the show, as he violates the rules to actually be on the show. And so it was kind of fun to have Aaron sitting off to the side, just listening to the conversation and playing bartender at times for us. But the emotion that Alaia felt was because here she wrote about Aaron Cooper in her yearbook. That is what AC meant in the initials in her yearbook. I was just joking about Alicia Conti. Hi, Alicia. And yeah, so there was Aaron sitting there, and Alaia really just didn't remember her feelings at that time for Aaron. She knew that he was there in her life. She knew that they had some history, but she didn't remember that he meant something at that time to actually put him in her yearbook. And so, we're sitting on the back deck, and there he is off to the side, and she's reading this after so much reflection. It was really surprising for her, a lot of emotion, obviously, as you heard, and quite honestly, a lot of fun for me to kind of see in person. Two people that I definitely now consider friends, kind of coming together and me seeing that realization that maybe it was always meant to be. One thing Alaia and I did not get to talk about on mic, but we discussed after the fact, is that Alaia also has a little bit of a business, and you know how I feel about local businesses. And so if you're interested in alternative medicine or intuitive readings, check out Alaia's page, Evolve Spiritual Services. She does readings and energy healing. And if you're interested in that sort of thing, reach out, get in contact, and you can book her. I know my mom is a big fan of that, and she's probably going to reach out for a reading at some point soon. And so, that is where I leave you with this episode. In 2 weeks, my guest will be Jason Herb. Jason is someone that I really always enjoyed growing up, from elementary school all the way through high school. I thought he was a really funny guy. I know a lot of people thought that he was a really funny guy, and he is a really funny guy, and you're going to get to hear some of that in 2 weeks when the episode drops. I will tell you that Jason has been living a bit further from the Philadelphia area, and so this really is going to serve, I think, as an update for a lot of people that grew up with Jason, remember Jason from high school as the fun-loving guy, and maybe have wondered where he's been. Well, he's been living a little bit north of here, up in the Clark Summit area, and I actually went up to visit him this summer, and this will be that conversation. Jason's been through some tough times. I know for me, it was a pretty surprising conversation, and I really feel honored that Jason felt comfortable enough to share it with me, knowing that it was going to go out to all of you. So real quick, all the social media again, We Weren't Friends in High School on Instagram, WWF in High School on Twitter. REDSHIRTPLAYA is all of my personal information. I hope you'll come back in 2 weeks on a Monday morning with my next guest, Jason Herb. I'll talk to you guys then. Bye.